control zebra and quagga mussels. With its diesel engine rumbling, the Laurentian treks out onto Lake Michigan to gather more evidence on how the changing environment in the lake is affecting its fish. This is a research boat operated by NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
We're trying to understand how the quagga and zebra mussels, filtration of the water and depletion of the phytoplankton has affected the food for larval fish.
As they drag large plankton nets through the water, capturing samples of larval fish, they also pull in another threat to the lake's ecosystem, the spiny water flea.
That's another unintended consequence of the zebra mussel invasion, the quagga mussels. They clear the water up so much that these guys are visual predators, so now they're better able to see the native zooplankton and feed on them.
The Laurentian also drags a trowel along the bottom of the lake, scraping up samples of quagga to study in their lab. Quagga mussels now cover the floor of Lake Michigan like a carpet, even in its deepest sections.
Oh, we're going to bring it in, Steve. It's quite a haul. And a beer can, look at that.
This is just an old beer can, but zebra and quagga mussels have what's called byssal threads that stick like glue to any hard surface under the water.
The zebra mussels have this ability to attach, and I'll try to pull off one of the mussels here. You can see that it's pretty difficult for me to pull this off.
Byron Carnes is an aquatic biologist with the National Park Service. His territory includes the St. Croix National Scenic Riverway. The St. Croix is 252 miles long and separates Minnesota from Wisconsin. There are over 40 species of native mussels here. Many have been around for hundreds of years and live to be 40 to 80 years old. Some are on the verge of extinction.
One of the things about zebra mussels that was well understood in the early 1990s was how detrimental they could be to native mussels and other aquatic life.
23 miles of this river are infested with zebra mussels that, because of their byssal threads, pose a deadly threat to the native mussels.
This is a Higgins eye mussel, which is an endangered species, with the invasive zebra mussels on it.
That native mussel is going to have an incredibly hard time opening and closing its shell, being able to breathe or reproduce or move up and down in the sand like it needs to survive. And that's eventually what's going to cause that mussel to decline, to die, to certainly not do very well.
Zebra and quagga mussels are sticking to other things too.
So if you take a look at a pipe that mussels have entered, now you've got a problem.
Industrial pipes and machinery often get clogged with massive amounts of these invasive species.
Right now it's probably between 15 and 20 million a year to control them at the pipes.
If you're turning on your water, you're turning on your lights, using electricity, basically we're paying for that in one way or another.
The use of toxic chemicals are needed to control mussels, but that may be changing.
See this? This mixture represents the first environmentally safe option for zebra and quagga mussel control in North America, and our lab discovered it.
At the end of this narrow road in upstate New York are a series of white buildings in the middle of the woods. Inside, some of the world's most important research is being done to find ways to control zebra and quagga mussel populations. This is the research department of the New York State Museum, or as research scientist Dan Malloy likes to call it, the little lab in the woods. After 20 years of painstaking research, his team of scientists have discovered a bacterium that's deadly to quagga and zebra mussels, but apparently harmless to the rest of the environment.
We looked at little microbes in the environment, which, by serendipity, if they're eaten by the pest, will kill the pest. That was the early 90s. Here we are, 2010, and that dream has come true.
A commercial company in California is marketing the green formula under the name Zequinox.
So it's got an excellent environmental track record from our lab data. And now it's time to try it as in the real world, to actually control zebra and quagga mussels, not just little lab studies.
And there's more on the horizon for this lab. They've discovered a parasite that appears to attack only zebra and quagga mussels.
It literally eats away the interior connective tissue of the entire zebra mussel.
But it could be a while before the parasite is on its way to a lake near you.
Minimum of a decade. Why? Because that's how long it would take to do the kind of research to demonstrate its specificity to zebra mussels.
Potentially something down the line that might control them might be a good thing for this river. But for the time being, what we're trying to do is just gather as much data and information about the zebra mussels that are here that we possibly can, so that one day we can use that hopefully to defend against further spread.
Coming up, invasive mussels have found their way out west. Plus, what we can all do to help control the quagga invasion. Few things are